Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. Liverpool gave up during 4-0 defeat by Man City in FA Cup quarterfinal, says captain Virgil van Dijk. Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk accused his team of giving up and apologized to fans following their FA Cup humiliation at Manchester City. The Reds' hopes of salvaging domestic silverware from a disappointing season were crushed in a 4-0 quarter-final defeat at the Etihad Stadium on Saturday. After an evenly matched opening half-hour, the visitors capitulated after Van Dijk fouled Nico O'Reilly and Erling Haaland scored the resulting penalty before Haaland went on to complete a hat-trick, as City struck 4 times in a devastating 18-minute spell spanning the interval. Liverpool midfielder Dominic Szoboszlai claimed his teammates lacked the mentality to recover from the setback, and boss Arne Slot agreed that their reaction to Haaland's opener was not good enough. Van Dijk said, "I can only apologize to the fans for what we have shown, especially the second half. Obviously you come out with the right intentions from the dressing room to hopefully score for 2-1 as soon as possible to change the game. The opposite happens, and to come back from 3-0 is obviously very difficult here, but also you shouldn't give up, and that's maybe at a certain point what happened. We let our fans down, we let ourselves down, and the manager. The way we played in the second half especially must hurt for everyone. It definitely hurts me." The dismal result intensified the pressure on Slot ahead of a daunting Champions League quarter-final trip to Paris Saint-Germain. Van Dijk said, "It's a together thing, isn't it? Obviously he's responsible as the manager, but we are the ones on the pitch that have to do it. The matter of fact is now PSG are waiting for us. I watched them Friday a little bit. It will be so tough again, so we have to be ready mentally as soon as possible. I've been lucky enough to play for Liverpool for so many years. The main thing we always had was togetherness. Now obviously we are in a little bit of a transition, we have to find it. It's difficult to perform every 2 days if you don't have it consistently." Liverpool's struggles have also left their hopes of Champions League for next season in doubt. They face a crucial Premier League match with Fulham between their 2 games against PSG. Van Dijk said, "We have a responsibility to ourselves and especially to the fans. If we want to make something out of this season, then we have to try and produce something special the next 3 games. I'm trying to think how we can turn this round. We've been going through this almost 75% of the season. We fall back into games where we get beaten on intensity or beaten on how much you really want to go for it. It's a difficult one to take, and everyone has to look at themselves." Analysis: Slot's worst defeat yet. On the face of it, Slot could take some comfort in the underlying statistics. The possession was shared, both teams had 11 attempts on goal. Liverpool actually had 36 touches in the opposition penalty box to Manchester City's 21, an even contest then. Not quite, and while that reveals something about City boasting the best out-and-out striker on the planet, it also indicates just what has undermined Liverpool's season. For a supposedly top team, they are bad in both boxes. The details continue to cost them. Van Dijk did not need to kick O'Reilly inside the box, gifting City the chance to take the lead. Salah missed a penalty that was placed on the same spot from which Haaland had scored earlier on, having also wasted the game's first clear chance. With Alisson Becker injured again, these are Slot's match winners. Florian Wirtz, their record signing, has decorated too many of these big matches rather than dominate them. Liverpool have lost something at full-back while the balance in midfield is off. There were times when the forwards would push high while the defense would drop off, opening spaces that this Liverpool do not have the legs to cope with. The sight of Dominic Szoboszlai chasing shadows on his own has been a feature of the campaign. For all Liverpool's struggles, no team other than Manchester City has beaten them by more than the odd goal this season. This was somehow different and yet also coming. The sort of excuses that supporters have had to listen to all year will not cover it now. Second news is Liverpool's 4-0 defeat to Man City. Arne Slot's lack of attention to detail on throw-ins is a symptom of their bigger problems. On the face of it, Manchester City's 4-0 win over Liverpool was as emphatic as it gets, but the frustration for Liverpool supporters is that it is the details that are costing their side. Arne Slot puts some of that down to misfortune. It is much more than that. The Liverpool head coach turned to his now familiar complaints about his side being punished for every mistake while failing to take their chances at the other end. And it is true that the expected goals data had this FA Cup quarterfinal as a 2.44 versus 1.46 game. Possession was shared, the teams had 11 shots each, and yet, it is not luck, it is a lack of attention to detail that keeps undermining Liverpool's efforts. The fear is that this can now be seen as part of a wider trend, a slipping of the standards at Anfield this season. I think after they scored the 1-0 we were still in the game, but then we had a throw-in, Slot explained in the press conference afterwards. Twice we conceded when we had a throw-in, and they go so fast in those moments you have to defend sharper. Sitting in that press conference, listening to Slot's forthright exchange with journalist Ian Lademan, football editor of the Daily Mail, it was striking that while the Dutchman could analyze exactly what had happened, he could not say how he would put it right. On this specific point of throw-ins, that is particularly difficult to understand. Liverpool were among the first clubs in the Premier League to appreciate their importance fully. Jurgen Klopp appointed Thomas Gronemark as the first specialist throw-in coach. Speaking to Gronemark earlier this season, he appeared genuinely baffled at what he was now seeing at Liverpool. He revealed he had analyzed their Wembley defeat to Crystal Palace in August and saw a side who were unrecognizable with the ball in their hand. Liverpool had a possession on throw-ins under pressure of 33.3%, and that is really low, he said. Some would say it is just a throw-in. No, it is like any other football action on the pitch. If you have the ball, you can keep possession, have control, score a goal. Tellingly, he added, if you lose the ball, your opponents get control and they can score a goal against you. That is exactly what happened against Manchester City. Indeed, it would be hard to find a clearer example of it happening than Anton Semenyo's goal. Joe Gomez threw the ball perfectly to the feet of Mark Guehi under no pressure at all. The City defender cushioned a pass to Nico O'Reilly, who quickly turned to feed Ryan Cherki. Suddenly, City's most creative player had the ball 35 yards from Liverpool's goal. In space and with runners, he found Semenyo for the finish. Klopp famously said that there is no playmaker as effective as gegenpressing, but the brilliant Cherki, aided by Liverpool's abysmal defensive throw-ins, might just be a close second in that race. It is detail, not luck. They don't understand how to create space, said Gronemark. When they try to run one time and it doesn't work, the players don't know what to do, they don't know where to throw, the players don't know how to create space again. The takers have changed since Gronemark was there. Perhaps the lessons learned, Liverpool went from 18th to 1st from throw-ins under pressure when he came in, have been allowed to slide. Back in October, he saw it as a failing across the entire competition. To be totally honest, I am totally in shock because I expected after I was in Liverpool that the teams would start to be really good, but if you ask me, it has almost been worse because they are not working with it or they are working with it in the wrong way. Since then, Gronemark has been recruited by a Premier League side. Not Liverpool but Arsenal, a team whose fine record this season is routinely attributed to their focus on the details rather than any inherent superiority in the quality of their squad. That is what reflects so poorly on Liverpool this year. There are many mitigating circumstances for Slot, matters far beyond his control. There have been traumatic off-field issues, a major overhaul of players, legends on the wane, and injury problems for him to manage. Where the sympathy runs short is not with the macro but the micro, the little things he can control. A throw-in might seem like nothing, but then it contributes to the biggest defeat of his time at Liverpool, and it can suddenly feel like a symbol of something much more.